So as you see, like a doctor with a heart. So fertilizer management or nutrient management in hydroponics is the heart. Again and again, I'm emphasizing, because if any grower is efficiently managing the crop nutrition, the chances for the success of that particular project is really, really high. So today, what we are going to talk about, we are going to talk some basic concept of the plant nutrition, because as I come to know from the organizers that the audience are a mix of professionals plus students. So I thought that it would be good that I should start from some of the basic concepts, which I'm sure that you guys have come across, and then we are going to talk about some essential plant nutrient, role of essential plant nutrients, and then basics of hydroponic crop nutrition. And then there is a fertilizer recipe, which is designed in very, very handy and easy to use tool kind of a thing, Excel sheet. So I'm going to define that also. And once you design that, how you need to optimize, and if time permits, we can also go for doing a hands-on. So maybe some of the participants are going to get an opportunity to design their own fertilizers. So let's begin. And I'm a person love to be something like interacting. So dialogue is always better. So the whole thing should not be like a lecture. So it should not be a monologue. So anytime anybody is having any question, they can come up and they can ask. Okay. So let's start some of these basic concepts of crop nutrition. So the first very basic thing, which means age old, the criteria of essentiality, based on that, the crop nutrition is something. Crop nutrients are categorized or classified as an essential nutrient. So these are, the plant cannot complete the life cycle in absence of that element. So it's a very basic. If there is if that particular nutrient is essential nutrient, so plant cannot complete its life cycle in absence of that one. It's a action of element must be specific, means the actions should be such that it cannot be replaced with, suppose the nitrogen is doing the kind of vegetative growth, so that cannot be replaced by any other nutrient. So that type of nutrients are classified as essential nutrients. The element must be shown to be directly involved in the nutrition of the plant. So these are the criteria based on which the scientists have classified that these are 18, 16, or 19 elements which are essential for the plant growth. And that is the basics from where this hydroponic technique started. Because why we are going for a hydroponic technique? Because it's make our life easier, because whatever the factors we are aware that these are the factors responsible for growth of the plant, we as a grower in hydroponic technique need to manage efficiently those factors, and one of them is the essential nutrients, and there is no need beyond those essential nutrients the supply of any further nutrients, which most of the organic producers, they used to say that there are 60 elements in soil, and if that is missing, it's mean the quality of your produce in hydroponic is not at par with the organic or traditional farming. But believe me, we have proven that by analyzing in lab that the hydroponic produce are either equally good or superior than even the organic farm. So one of the concepts we need to understand, the criteria of essentiality for essential to be classified or to be qualified as essential nutrient, which is 19. If you take out that CHO, they're less than that. The second concept, which as a grower you must know, is the law of minimum. So what is that? If we need to be an efficient grower, means efficient grower in hydroponic or traditional farming or any other farming, the bottom line is you need to achieve the highest productivity. And how you can achieve the highest productivity? To achieve that, you as a grower need to ensure that all the factors responsible or contributing for the production of a crop need to be at the optimal level. Otherwise, what is going to happen? The factor which is in a least quantity or below the optimal level will decide your productivity. How we can understand? This is a barrel law. So one is the barrel. You can create a barrel by putting a different kind of strips, or maybe you can use the example of a gunny bag. Make a gunny bag using a different strip and cut one strip lower than the other. You can only fill your bag till that level of strip where you have put the cut. So as a grower, we need to be efficient enough for ensuring the optimal availability of all the factors collectively responsible for growing crop. So that is law of a minimum, which says growth is dedicated not by total resource available, but by the scarcest minimum resource available. So suppose you are putting highest nitrogen content, but you are failed to give optimal, because nitrogen is required in a highest quantity. So if you're putting a 5 bag of nitrogen and you're missing a 1 kg of your boron, you will not be able to achieve or efficiently utilize that 3 bags of urea versus 1 kg of boron. So your productivity will be limited because of lack of boron, not because of excess of nitrogen. So this is something like a concept which we need to understand before venturing for nutrient management in hydroponics. So another the concept or another basic principle for any kind of nutrient management is hidden hunger. What is that? Hidden hunger is, as name suggested, the hunger which is hidden, means you are, as a grower, you are not able to see that hunger. But yes, the efficient grower, they have the eyes to see that hidden hunger. And as a grower, you always need to maintain optimal factors in terms of nutrition, in terms of other resources. You need to ensure the optimal availability to ensure the top productivity, the top yield. Because the moment your plant switch over or slip into hidden hunger zone, it's mean your productivity reduction started from this point only. Till the time symptom appears, a lot of damage already happened. So once the damage happened, you cannot reverse it. So as a grower, you need to be efficient enough for ensuring the optimal availability of all the resources required. So the basic concept, again, there are different types of a classification of all the essential nutrients, because all these are essential nutrients, and some of the basic nutrients, some of the primary nutrients, some of the secondary, and some of the micronutrient. And then here is the chlorine is added. Even the chlorine is still not considered unanimously the essential nutrient. So these essential nutrients can be classified based on the amount required, like primary, secondary, and micronutrient. Mobility in soil, because some of the highly mobile in soil and some of the immobile in soil, like phosphate is immobile and nitrogen is highly mobile in soil. And mobility inside the plant is also equally important to know and understand. What are those nutrients which are highly mobile? Like if I talk about nitrogen, again, nitrogen is always mobile. It's very energetic. The moment root absorbs, it reaches to the top of the plant, and that's how the deficiency appears on the lower leaf of plants. And then chemical nature and function in plants. So these are some of the criteria. Based on that, you can classify your nutrients, essential nutrients. I'll briefly touch upon this point because I'm sure that everybody is aware about the role of different nutrients. Like nitrogen is always associated with the vegetative growth. Phosphorus is always associated with root development. Potassium is always associated with the quality of your output and productivity and stress management. And also it is kind of a transport agent inside the plant body. And again, the calcium is also always associated with the cell wall formation and other kind of cell division and all. So residue plant respiration also, reduce of plant respiration also. Even potassium is responsible for fighting with the disease resistance as well as drought resistance nature. So these are a very basic things which you should know. And like magnesium is somehow directly linked with your chlorophyll, and that's how it is associated with photosynthesis. Iron is again acting as like in a human body, the hemoglobin is working like iron is something like a carrier of oxygen for the plant. So like Mn is function as a part of different enzymes, increase the availability of phosphorus, and because these are the antagonistic impact, because if Mn is available, then phosphorus and calcium availability will go up. Zinc is majorly known for enzymatic activities and starch formation, and it's a seed formation also. And even the sulfur is always linked with the formation of amino acids and essential oil. So oil bearing crop, the sulfur is required. And even the crops which have a scent, like in hydroponic, the basil is one of the crop which have a scent, and then rosemary, thyme, all these the herbs, they require something like a good quantity of a sulfur. And then boron is one of the most essential element for ensuring the fruit formation, because boron is responsible for the pollen tube germination. If boron is absent at the time of flowering and fruiting, then there will be no pollen tube formation. And if the pollen tube is not formed, then the fertilization process will not take place. And if you are getting chaffy grains, means दाने बिना भरे हुए दाने या फल नहीं, fruit bearing नहीं हो रही है, fruit drops हो रहे हैं, this boron is associated with that. So these are some of the essentially when the crop were one of the most important kind of essential nutrient. But as a grower, we need to be very cautious. This one of the nutrient, if it is present in excess, it also gives you a toxic impact. So as a grower, we need to be very cautious while assessing the requirement of a copper in any growing system. And molybdenum is always associated with the leguminous crop and specifically in soil for nodule formation, but here required for enzyme nitrate reductase. But here in hydroponic, this is not that critical. It's in the formation of a legume nodule. This is again because we are not allowing in hydroponics the nodule formation or any kind of a microbial growth. Okay, so the main part, the fertilizer sources, basics of hydroponic. The first thing is what type of fertilizer we need to use in hydroponics. क्योंकि ये सवाल सबसे पहले आता है कि साहब मैं हाइड्रोपोनिक्स में कौन-कौन सी खादें इस्तेमाल कर सकता हूं. So there, as we know that hydroponics something related with the water, so always use water soluble fertilizers only. Okay, because what is happening, the most of the fertilizer which are soil grade, they are designed considering the soil as a microclimate. So they are not at all suitable for hydroponic growing system. So if you are starting any hydroponic venture, the first thing is you need to go for water soluble fertilizer as a source of your nutrient. However, there are a lot of opportunity to experiment, because I'm sure that some of the participants, they know in parts of Maharashtra, Nasik and all, and even in Punjab also, some of the guys, they are using urea after putting it in a solution farm. They are adding these in water, making a solution and holding it for overnight. And then they are applying to their drip irrigation, and they are putting little soil also. So what the process they are doing, they are converting that amide fertilizer into nitrate or ammonical form of fertilizer, because urea in presence of a urease enzyme is undergoing the hydrolysis process and convert from amide to a nitrate or ammonical form, and that's how they are getting more efficiency. So this is the possibility, because all the water soluble fertilizers, they are costlier than the soil grade fertilizer. However, we need to experiment that what are those soil grade or cost effective or cheaper fertilizer can be introduced in hydroponic growing system. But so far, if you are starting, start with the water soluble fertilizer. And again, I'm saying that amide source of fertilizer, they are not fit in hydroponic because this required a microbial activity. At the end, I'll definitely elaborate that, because amide fertilizer is urea. So urea is not allowed in hydroponic growing system. Even the 19, the part of nitrogen is supplied through urea. So there is nitrate source and urea, both are supplying the nitrogen in 19, which is one of the most used hydroponic, means water soluble fertilizer, but that is not recommended in hydroponic. But yes, people are using that because of it. It's partially it is nitrate and partially it is a urea. So as a grower, you should avoid using that. Why? I'll tell at the end, when I'll just give you the complete hydrolysis cycle for urea. Again, one more thing is only branded fertilizers should be used. Why I am saying so? Because most of the hydroponic farms, they are capital intensive. So अगर आपने पैसे ज्यादा लगाए हुए हैं, so उसके अंदर अगर आप adulteration की वजह से fail होते हैं, so it's really a serious concern. Somebody has raised a hand, so I'll ask the organizer to allow for the question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, ask your question. Oh, audio is not, now it's connected. Go ahead, ask your question. Hello? I don't know if you can ask your question, it's okay. Otherwise, we need to move ahead. Anyway, Mr. Reddy, that I'll definitely explain why the urea is not soil grade. Means it is whatever the fertilizer is designed for using in मिट्टी की वाली खेती में जो traditional farming में use होते हैं, that is the soil grade fertilizers. Most of these urea, DAP, MOP, they all are a soil grade fertilizer. How does we know that this certain crop need this amount of? We will come to that, why amide is not fit. So all these answers you will get at the end of the presentation. Okay, so be with us. These all answers are there at the means in this presentation itself. Okay, so one more factor while we are going to design or a basics of hydroponic crop nutrition is the nitrogen source. As a grower, we need to maintain both nitrate and ammonical source of balance of nitrate and ammonical source of a nitrogen, because that is the key for ensuring that the plants are getting sufficient kind of a nitrogen. Because if you see, some of the plants, they love nitrate source of nitrogen, and some of the plants, they love ammonical form of a nitrogen. So if both are available, then there will not be any kind of a shortage or deficiency of nitrate or a nitrogen specifically. Okay. After that, the second basic concept about hydroponic crop nutritions are how you are supplying your nutrition or fertilizer. So if we see or classify this types of fertilizer application, it is based on recirculation, and based on we can classify in a different way. Like if I talk about circulation, so circulation is open system and closed system. So if I talk about open system, means this is the system where the pump is pumping or supplying the nutrition, and whatever is excess, it is leaching out and absorbed in the soil. So open system is that where you as a grower applying some fertilizer solution and excess is leaching out there and absorbed by the soil is the open system. And closed system is where the leach or excess water or a nutrient solution is coming back to your basic tank or supply tank, and after adjustment of a EC and pH. Okay, that is also one most important thing in hydroponic. Electrical conductivity and pH is the two parameter which as a grower you need to maintain at the optimal target level. Okay, so closed system is that system in fertilizer management. Closed system is where we are reusing the fertilizer solution, means recirculating the fertilizer solution. So the a ratio of nutrient is supplied to the crop. Whatever is being absorbed by the plant is again going to be replenished in the tank, and again the same nutrient solution is going to be again going back to your crop. So that's the closed system, which is most efficient system in fertilizer management. Open system is a little less. Okay. So somebody is saying thanks from Kenya. So second is the based on mixing, we can classify the fertilizer application method as tank mix. These are three different ways how you can supply your fertilizer to your hydroponic unit. In this, there is a one tank as a source of supply, water supply to your crop. And in automated system, as grower, have to set your automation system or system where the whole nutrient is mixed in a tank and that is supplied to your crop. And inline, there are irrigation fertigation system where the nutrient solutions are mixed in the water which is supplied to your crop. Okay, and manual, definitely the ventures are there, so you can manually using the venturi. I've Mr. Mukesh want to have some question if he's already still there, so maybe you can allow to speak. Yeah, Mukesh, go ahead. So organizer, please allow him to ask his question, but very quick. Mukesh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
या गो अहेड मुकेश, बताइए.
Sir, close and open system repeated, sir. Explain.
बहुत
Not
सिंपल सा
clear,
है
sir.
मुकेश जी. उसमें क्या है, क्लोज सिस्टम इज कि जो एक जहां से पानी आप सप्लाई कर रहे हो न्यूट्रिएंट सॉल्यूशन, वो वापस फिर उसी टैंक में आता है जहां से आपने सप्लाई किया था, और उसका जो ईसी पीएच कंसंट्रेशन होता है, पौधे ने ले लिया उसमें उतना ही ऐड करके फिर से वही पानी जाता है. तो ये ऑलवेज एक साइकिल में घूमता रहता है. क्या कर रहा है लाइट. Yeah, so that is a closed system. And ओपन सिस्टम में एक बार आपने फर्टिलाइजर सप्लाई किया तो वहीं पे जाके वो जितना बैग में होता है, बैग में वो एब्जॉर्ब करता है प्लांट, जनरली वो, और फिर बाकी का बचा हुआ लीच हो जाता है. So that is the open system. Okay. So coming back to some more basics of hydroponic crop nutrition are like we need to maintain EC and pH, which is the heart. Again, within the heart, there is a heart for this crop nutrition, which is EC and pH. What is EC? It is a, people are little technical. इसमें क्या होता है कि प्रॉब होते हैं, और जब उसमें से करंट पास किया जाए तो एक प्रॉब से दूसरे कैथोड तक जाने में जितने ऑब्स्टिकल क्रिएट करते हैं, क्योंकि जो सॉल्ट होते हैं वो आयनिक फॉर्म में होते हैं, एंड दैट इज नोन एज इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी. सो इनडायरेक्टली अगर बोले तो आपके सॉल्यूशन में कितना फर्टिलाइजर का कंसंट्रेशन है वो आपका ईसी से मेजर होता है. और दूसरा जो पार्ट है पीएच, which is really crucial, because आपको जो न्यूट्रिएंट अवेलेबिलिटी होती है, आपके जितने भी एसेंशियल न्यूट्रिएंट हैं उनकी अवेलेबिलिटी डिफरेंट पीएच लेवल पे डिफरेंट होती है, एंड दैट्स हाउ इट इज रिकमेंडेड कि आप अगर ग्रोइंग कर रहे हैं हाइड्रोपोनिक्स में, always try to maintain little acidic solution. That will be most efficient way of supplying nutrient. Under that acidic little slight acidic condition में आपका nutrient absorption will be much better. The next basic is the fertilizer recipe. What is the fertilizer recipe? Means the ratio of different nutrients. They need to be project specific. Hydroponics a tough kind of a thing, or hydroponic don't have any kind of opportunity to opt for copy paste. So suppose at an X grower place, if a recipe is performing really good, it is not 100% assurance that at the Y grower's place, the same recipe will give you the same result. So you need to find recipe for your own project. Never try to copy paste, otherwise there is a high chances of failure. Okay. Next basic about the crop nutrition hydroponic is fertilizer recipe need to be crop and stage specific. I'm sure you know that crop is growing leafies, so then your fertilizer recipe need to be for the leafies. If you are talking about any crop, tomato or pepper, the recipe need to be that way. If the short duration crop like leafies, it is okay. One recipe will work throughout the crop cycle. However, if you are looking for a long-term tomatoes which last for a 6, 8, or 9 months, even in Europe, it is something sometimes that grow, you need to calibrate it at the growth stage level. Because the moment you are transplanting your seed, at that time, root development is the most important thing which grow care. So at that time, your recipe need to be designed in a way where you can just supply more nutrients which are supporting for root development. Similarly, for the vegetative growth, you have again different recipe for that stage, and similarly for the fruiting and harvesting stage. Nutrient ratio should be as per the crop growth stage. So again, it's a recipe, and the ratios of and as a grower, what you need to do, you only need to play around the different ratios of all these essential nutrients. So you to be as per the crop stage. So these are some of the basic before venturing in designing your fertilizer recipe. One need to know all these things. Okay, so one more basic. I'm sure some of our participants who have exposed to hydroponic unit, or they have seen some of the videos, or they have seen there are two different types of tank. Why there is a two tanks? What is the need that we need to have a two tanks? So this is the answer, because you as a grower need to be able to understand what are those fertilizers, they are compatible to each other. If you mix incompatible fertilizer together, you will get something or it will be converted. And that's how one group of compatible fertilizers are put in a one tank, and another group of compatible fertilizers are put in the same tank. That's how in hydroponics, always there are two tanks for a nutrient solution. Okay, so this is the something kind of which we designed time, doing all the experimentation, doing all the required check and balances. But as a grower, your life is very easy. Here, you need to put a value in all these kind of a green cells. Like, as a grower, you need to put what is the total water requirement per, or what is the tank size of your growing system. And the second information, what you need to add here is what the EC you are targeting, electrical conductivity you are targeting. So you have to put here, rest the estimated is going to be here. After putting these two values, one is what is the water requirement, and second is targeted EC, then you have to play with the fertilizer quantity. And you are in this sheet, you are allowed to do that. You cannot add any values apart from these green ones, because initially we started with sharing all this complete sheet without protection. And what happened? People, they just disturb all the formula. So that's how now this is kind of a sheet which is designed as a tool you can use, and you can estimate the fertilizer quantity. These quantities you can put, and this value you can match with the targeted EC by playing with the quantity of the fertilizer. Here, if you see, one is ammonical nitrogen percentage. This cell is red because the ratio need to be between nitrate and ammonical is or maximum 12% as against to nitrate. If it goes beyond, this cell itself will give you the red in flag. That okay, you have to bring down your medical nitrogen. And if it will go beyond 11, 10, then again it will show the red flag. So as a grower, you didn't need to do anything, only play with these numbers. And over a period of a time, you need to see that what is the ratio. Suppose this recipe is very clearly saying that phosphorus ratio or phosphorus content is highest. So this is the recipe ideal for the stage when the plant required to develop the roots. So as a grower, over a period of a time, you will get experience, and you need to maintain this NPK ratio. And also you have to see the other something like a very huge difference in kind of a micronutrient and major nutrient. So as a grower, you have to play with these numbers, and this sheet itself will estimate everything, the ratio, the estimated EC, this value, and even the ppm value of that particular solution. So this is the first sheet where you have to, after working on the one sheet, you will also get the second sheet, which is in that file itself, where you will get that what is the quantity of a nutrient you are going to supply to your crop by using whatever the fertilizer source you are using and whatever the quantities you are using. And the third and the last sheet of that particular fertilizer recipe designing tool is, so as a grower, hand over this report to any of your kind of supervisor or a field staff to prepare the fertilizer recipe. Because if you want to just go for tank A and tank B, because these are the nutrients which are compatible to each other, so they are we need to put in tank A, and the 1 day quantity is this, and the 7. So as a user, you have to instruct, go in a one bucket this quantity or this quantity, and in another bucket you measure this quantity and mix in different tanks. And while mixing, you need to be very cautious. You never opt for mixing this fertilizer in the fertilizer tank. First, you properly mix in sub tank or maybe bucket or any other container, and the completely mix the fertilizer tanks. Because most of the time when you are adding the solid fertilizer directly in your tank, and if you don't have an agitator or agitator facility, most of the time that solubility of nutrient is fertilizers are different, and if one of them is still not become a soluble in the solution form in that solution, whole ratio is disturbed. So that's how whenever you are mixing or whenever you're pouring your fertilizer, first you mix in a small container, bucket or anything. 100% solution need to be poured in your fertilizer tank. Otherwise, you will feel like, oh, I have designed a very good recipe and I should get a wonderful result. But just because of that a little kind of a mistake, the recipe ratio will disturb, and ultimately you will see the impact on your crop. Not only that, we also have one kind of a table in the first itself, where if you'll put all the rates of your fertilizers you use, only because I told you only the green cells you can add values. So if you just put the rate per kg here, you get the cost of your one recipe. So while working also, you can do something like a financial analysis also in terms of a crop nutrition. Okay, so fertilizer management in hydroponics, specifically nitrogen fertilizer. So there are some questions. I'm going to respond on that. Is it advisable to use urea or DAP as a source of nitrogen hydroponic system? Answer is no. Wally, you can ask the question. Organizers, please allow her.
हेलो गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून रूपाली, बताइए।
सर मेरे को सबसे पहले ये पूछना था, जब हम हाइड्रोपोनिकली ग्रो करते हैं तो जो हम वाटर यूज करते हैं फर्स्टली लाइक नॉर्मल टैप वाटर, तो हम वो यूज कर सकते हैं टैप वाटर?
That's a good question, Rupali. See, there are two types of a hydroponic system. One is hobby purpose, which you can install at your maybe balcony, maybe rooftop, maybe anywhere. That is a small for home purpose. So in that you can use your tap water, because if the productivity, suppose you install a one unit at your home and you are getting means you should get, if you're using something like 100% hydroponic technique, then you should get a something like maybe 8 kg of tomatoes. So if you are using this something kind of a tap water and it is of a high EC or salts are not good in that favorable for the crop growth, what worse is going to happen? Maybe instead of 8 kg, you are going to get a 4 kg, which is still the good at your hobby unit. So in hobby unit, you can use that. However, if you are going for a commercial hydroponic unit, it is always advisable to go for the water analysis, assess that what are those salts are there and what is the level of salt concentration or a EC. If it is beyond something like 0.3, 0.4 or 0.5, it is always advisable to go for a RO unit. So use only RO water. Why that? Because the moment you are taking out all the salt present in groundwater, you as a grower have 100% control. Whatever you are feeding in terms of fertilizer solution, that only going to go to your crop, and your crop is going to give you the result what you're looking for. But if you will use ground hydroponic, maybe there's if it is having some heavy metal or anything, again, my whole concept of quality is going to be defeated. So in commercial hydroponic, it is always advisable to go for a higher.
ओके और सर सेकेंडली सर जो हमारा ईसी होता है वो हर क्रॉप्स के लिए डिफरेंट होता है सर.
You have to pay attention because that I have already shared. हर क्रॉप की इवन crop duration उसके different stages में है. Even it depends on a project specific. Suppose a project is something like कि आपके यहाँ कोई एक project है उसमें maybe 1.5, just assuming, ठीक है, 1.5 EC यूज कर रहे हो. एक दूसरा प्रोजेक्ट आपके बगल में ही है, उसने आपका क्रॉप बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है एंड say 5 और उसका क्रॉप अच्छा नहीं होता है. So why I am saying कि every crop, every project, every stage need to have different EC directly the concentration. Because अगर आपके रूपाली उस फार्म पे सनलाइट अच्छी आ रही है तो इसका मतलब क्या हो रहा है, ट्रांसपिरेशन एंड इवापोरेशन पानी एब्जॉर्ब करेगा. ज्यादा पानी एब्जॉर्ब करेगा तो लो ईसी पे भी वो अच्छा परफॉर्म करेगा. वर्सेस सनलाइट ऑप्टिमल नहीं है, शेड है, कोई पेड़ है और वहां पे जो एब्जॉर्प्शन होगा पानी का वो लेस होगा. सो वहां पे जो ईसी रखना होगा वो थोड़ी हाई रखना पड़ेगा, प्लांट पूरा होगा. ओके
सर तो मतलब जो हम हाइड्रोपोनिकली अगर सर नॉट फॉर द कमर्शियल पर्पस, जस्ट फॉर द एक्सपेरिमेंट और फॉर योर रिसर्च वर्क, अगर हमें हाइड्रोपोनिकली कुछ ग्रो करना है, लाइक छोटे से रूम में कर सकते हैं ना कि हमें सिर्फ पॉली हाउसेज में ही वो कंडक्ट करना पड़ता है, इसमें कुछ डिफरेंस आ सकता है सर, मतलब उसकी क्वालिटी या क्वांटिटी पे?
रूपाली, इंडियन कंडीशन में आई एडवाइज टू गो फॉर, ठीक है, तो आपको आर्टिफिशियल लाइट में नहीं करना है क्योंकि आपकी इंडिया में नेचुरल लाइट प्लेंटी अवेलेबल है. सेकंड जो आपका सवाल है कि ग्रीन हाउस में करना चाहिए या बिना ग्रीन हाउस के भी कर सकते हैं, इट्स अ बिग मिथ. पीपल आर कैरिंग कि हाइड्रोपोनिक लगाना है तो ग्रीन हाउस लगाना है, सब कुछ लगाना है. अगर आपको घर में करना है सो डू योर सीजनल वेजिटेबल, देयर इज नो नीड फॉर हाइड्रोपोनिक्स में लगाना ही है, कंडीशन करना ही है. सो hydroponic, again, you need to see hydroponic. It is a technique to create an ideal microclimate around the root zone. There is no linkage with the shoot. अगर आप seasonal vegetables hydroponic में grow करना चाह रहे हो अपने घर के पर्पस के लिए बिना किसी ग्रीन हाउस या प्रोटेक्टेड स्ट्रक्चर के आसानी से कर सकते हैं. ठीक है?
Okay, sir. And sir, last question.
Hold your last question for till the last question.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sure.
That will be better. Okay. Thank you, Rupali. So maybe there are two more guys who have raised their hand. So I'll just something like go through with this, and then maybe the organizers can allow them to speak. Okay. So even if we talk about some of the basics, what we are talking about, the fertilizer management, as I mentioned, 1919, which is one of the most used water soluble fertilizer, is not fit for hydroponic crop production. Why? In 1919 NPK. So the source of nitrogen here is a combination of a two. One is a nitrate source, another is in the form of urea. So urea and nitrate both are this of nitrogen, and urea is not at all recommended or advised in hydroponic growing system. And that's how 1919 is also not a fit fertilizer for hydroponic. Many guys are using, but it is not fit. What are the criteria for selecting source of nitrogen fertilizer in hydroponic growing system? I have already mentioned that it's a water soluble. It should be a kind of good ratio of. There should not be any kind of soil grade fertilizer in it. Okay, these are some of the criteria by which, and again, the branded fertilizer, what should be the job? I have already shared something like 10 or less than 13% of ammonical for a source of, and rest is need to be supplied as a nitrate source of fertilizer. Okay. This is one of the most crucial part while hydroponic fertilizer recipe, because fertilizer recipe need to be designed. Okay. And while designing, if you recall the hidden hunger, the symptom appears when the damage is done already. So what I'm saying, while designing, is ek aur bhi cheez hai yahan pe, when you are going for a commercial or entrepreneurship in a hydroponic farming, to opt for a pilot project where you have to standardize all the growing techniques or how to grow your crop. And one of the most important thing, after designing your fertilizer recipe, how you are going to calibrate. One is designing, another is calibrating whether your crop is performing or responding to your exact what you design, or there are some okay, or deviation. So as a grower, step is to design the recipe. Second step is to calibrate the recipe. So while calibrating the recipe, there is a chances that you will get some deficiency symptoms. So if you are not aware that what is the deficiency symptom for what nutrient, you will not be able to tweak your recipe. Means suppose there is a symptom, say there's a nitrogen deficiency. So you have to increase the nitrogen content in your fertilizer recipe to calibrate it. So as a grower, while designing or calibrating your recipe, you need to be very sure about these symptoms. So to make your life easier, very simple thing. The moment you are observing your crop, the first thing you need to see whether the symptom is on the older leaf or a middle leaf or a new leaf, this apical bud. Okay. The first step for identifying the deficiency of particular nutrient, you need to see that what is the location or a part of the plant where the deficiency is. Suppose as a grower, you see that the symptom is on the lower leaf. So it is a very clear, you need to tweak your NPK, Mg and molybdenum. So these are the new, it shows their deficiency. If you recall, I said, I share with you the nutrient mobility inside the plant body. So that decide where the deficiency symptom of particular nutrient will appear. Like NPK, Mg and molybdenum, they are highly mobile inside the plant. The moment root absorbs, they are highly mobile, and that's how what happens the moment they reach to the apical, and that's how the deficiency of these nutrients, they never occur on the apical part. And suppose if you're getting a symptom at an apical part, it's only calcium boron. These are the nutrients which you need to take. And if on the new leaf, so maybe sulfur, copper, iron, and manganese. And if it is in a middle leaf, so zinc. You need to see what is the part of plant where the deficiency symptom is appearing, and based on that you have to take a call. Okay, these are the nutrients which are deficient. So let me increase the quantity of these to ensure a right calibration of your fertilizer. After identifying that what is the plant part where the deficiency is, the second step is how I identify that which nutrient. Like if we talk about old leaf, these are the 5 nutrients which may be deficient in. Just what is exactly the nutrient deficiency. So if I classify the deficiency symptoms, so there are only few. So if there is a dead spot, so potassium or molybdenum is the nutrient which is deficient in your recipe. If there is a no dead spot, so maybe nitrogen, phosphorus, and magnesium, these are the nutrients because of that the symptom is early. I want to just further drill it down. If the veins are green means intervenal chlorosis. जब पत्ता पीला पड़ता है तो पत्ता पीला पड़ने में 2 तरीके का पीलापन होता है. एक तरह से यूनिफॉर्म पूरी पीली हो जाती है जिसको कि आप क्लोरोसिस कहते हैं, और कुछ होता है जिसमें कि वेन ग्रीन ही होती हैं और केवल लैमिना का बीच का पार्ट क्लोरोसिस होती है. अब ऐसा है कि इंटरवेनल क्लोरोसिस है तो इट इज मैग्नीशियम, and if it is a complete yellowing, so nitrogen, and phosphorus is little purple color or reddish color का symptom आता है जो कि phosphorus का होता है. and even अगर आप देखिए यहाँ पे जो कैल्शियम एंड बोरॉन है टर्मिनल बड पे ही है, इनके भी अगर आप देखेंगे इनके उसमें भी सिम्टम में डिफरेंस है. एंड फर्स्ट लोकेशन क्या डेफिशिएंसी सिम्टम होता है. एंड इवन येलो वेन में सल्फर एंड कॉपर दोनों में डेफिशिएंसी सिम्टम यही होता है. बट आप फर्दर ड्रिल डाउन करोगे यू विल गेट दैट व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू. सो एज अ ग्रोअर, while designing or calibrating your fertilizer recipe, you need to be tuck. Which location, what type of symptom, what place, and what nutrient. So you accordingly. These are some basic symptoms. So maybe I'll share this fertilizer, the whole presentation, and you can get that. Detailing it out is little difficult because if you see like molybdenum and potassium is very clearly the dead necrosis part, yellow, and then green parts, and it always starts from the edges of the leaf. So this is potassium or the dead spot. But if it is a molybdenum, irregular spots are different, or necrosis or a dead spot symptom. Intervenal chlorosis, if you see like, so this is something like iron and manganese. Iron is something kind of if you see, one is only primary veins are green, another is the secondary veins are also green. So that's a symptom you can see. So if you see like boron and calcium, so it is always boron and it is black heart of cauliflower, and this type of symptoms you can recognize for the calcium and boron. So one more thing is, maybe I can take the question that two guys were raised their hand. Just go ahead. Yeah, Rupa.
सर आपने अभी कुछ देर पहले वो जो फर्टिलाइजर रेसिपी की शीट्स शेयर करी थी, जो 2 शीट्स, वो सर अगर हमें प्रिपेयर करने, अगर मुझे पूरा डेटा चाहिए अपने पूरा हाइड्रोपोनिकली जो ग्रो है, वो मुझे पूरा बनाना पड़ेगा मतलब MS एक्सेल पे जैसा आपने बनाया है, या
टारगेट इसी कर रहे हैं उस पे फर्टिलाइजर की plus minus करोगे, that is already available tool which we design.
Okay, it's already available.
Yeah, you really need to go for designing the whole recipe. Okay, the fertilizer की जो sheet है वो Excel पूरी नहीं बनानी है आपको, वो बनी
Okay,
बनाई है।
okay.
केवल आपको पानी का क्वांटिटी डालना है, आपको टारगेट EC डालना है और फर्टिलाइजर की क्वांटिटी को प्लस माइनस करना है। Rest all work is going to be done by okay.
तो सर ये लिंक कहाँ से मिलेगा हमें, लाइक हम कहाँ से एक्सेस कर सकते हैं ये?
I'll share that, no issue. कहाँ से मिलेगा?
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, Sonu Kushwaha, go ahead. Sonu, can you hear me?
गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग सोनू, बताइए।
हम चाह रहे हैं सर, फ्लोटिंग वाटर होता है रिवर में सर, उस पे सर जैसे हम फ्लोट पे कुछ करके सर लगा के सर ग्लास में उसमें राइस लगा के रखे सर, हो जाएगा वो, सक्सेस हो पाएगा कैसे? देखो
पानी जो भी होता है, इफ पानी अगर रुका हुआ है
या सर बहता को कि सर साइड में किनारे एक जगह बांध ले, एक जगह टैगिंग कर लेंगे, रख लेंगे बांध के।
नहीं, टैगिंग
ताकि वो रुका।
नहीं समझ आया, फिर से बताओ।
अरे सर उसको सर ये बोलना है कि बांध के जैसे रस्सी से सर उसको बांध के एक जगह उसको रख लेंगे ताकि वो फ्लोट ना हो, दूसरी जगह ना जाए, एक जगह से दूसरी जगह बह के।
यू आर सेइंग कि गंगा नदी में डंडी बांध के उस पे धान का पौधा लगा दें तो हो जाएगा कि नहीं हो जाएगा?
यस सर, या किसी भी चीज का सर।
हाँ, किसी भी चीज का हो जाएगा, बट ये बताओ ना उसमें फर्टिलाइजर कैसे डालोगे? स्प्रे से कितना मिलेगा भाई? 99% ऑफ द टोटल फूड इज बीइंग एब्जॉर्ब बाय द रूट, एंड नदी में आप अगर फर्टिलाइजर डालने गए तो मतलब गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का भट्ठा बैठा दोगे यार। ऑलरेडी समथिंग लाइक $1 million इज बीइंग स्पेंड ऑन
सर FYM डाल के सर, जैसे उसको ग्लास में रख रहे हैं तो FYM डालने अपना।
देखो, अगर आप ग्लास में डाल के घर पे करना चाहते, पानी कभी स्टैंड स्टिल ना हो, वो सर्कुलेशन में रहे, तब आपका उसमें हो सकता है। अदरवाइज अगर पानी रुका तो उसमें फिर आपका सड़ने गलने का पॉसिबिलिटी बढ़ जाता है। ठीक है? ओके, सो देयर वाज सम क्वेश्चन अराउंड कि भाई हम ये यूरिया या अमाइड फर्टिलाइजर क्यों नहीं यूज कर सकते। तो ये आपके सवाल का है। यूरिया का अगर देखो तो ये यूरिया होता है, दिस इज अमाइड NH2CONH2, और ये मिट्टी में जैसे ही जाता है और हमारी मिट्टी में यूरियस एंजाइम माइक्रोब उसको प्रोड्यूस करता है। यूरियस एंजाइम बहुत, मतलब इट इज प्लेंटी ऑफ यूरियस एंजाइम इज प्रेजेंट इन योर सॉइल। सो जैसे ही यूरिया का मॉलिक्यूल यूरियस एंजाइम के कांटेक्ट में आता है, वो शुरू कर देगा। यूरिया इज एन ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड and one of the most stable compound. Okay, if is not getting in contact with the urease enzyme, it will be as it is for even 25 years. But the moment it reaches the soil, then on urea, and they convert urea into ammonia, and that is the stage, because ammonia is unstable and it's a gaseous form, so that leaches out, means not leaches out, volatilization loss hota hai urea ka, and that's how urea efficiency is lower, and ammonia gas is just loss, because ammonia gas is unstable. It again react with the hydrogen and it convert into ammonium ion. So ammonical form of nitrogen is available for your plant. So if this whole process is something completed where the urease enzyme is present and hydrogen is present, so urea is converted to ammonia. and it is going to be absorbed by the plant. Okay, so this is the first stage of hydrolysis. If you move further, then there is a nitrosomonas bacteria which react with ammonia and develop nitrite. Okay, and you know, it's an intermediate product of this hydrolysis, and this is one of the most of which urea is not recommended for hydroponic growing system, because if the nitrite level in your nutrient solution, the ppm level raises to beyond 50 ppm, it is a toxic to your plant, even it. Okay, that's how it is not recommended to use urea in hydroponic. That is the one thing. Means second thing is, in our solution, in our water, RO water, there will not be any urease enzyme. There will not be any kind of a microbes. And further nitrite, it means nitrobacter acts on nitrite and convert finally it into a nitrate. These microbes are not present or even allowed to be grown in hydroponic growing system, and if these are not there, urea will either partially hydrolyze or it will means be present as it is in your solution, and it is a mere wastage of your money in terms of urea. So that is not at all recommended, or any hydroponic grower should use urea as a source of nitrogen. So what is the source of nitrogen? Calcium nitrate is where ammonical nitrogen and nitrate nitrogen both are there. In this water soluble fertilizer, 1818 is one of the source where ammonical and nitrate source are there for. So 1818 is recommended for hydroponic kind of a growing system. Potassium nitrate is another source of nitrogen, and monoammonium phosphate is another source of nitrogen. So these are some of the water soluble fertilizers which you can use in hydroponic for supplying your nitrogen. Okay. I don't see like I have a sufficient time for doing the hands-on. Regarding that sheet, this website, you will get that. I will do one thing. I'll just show you that how the sheet is in another 5 minutes. I'll just show you that how the sheet is. Stop sharing. Let me open that sheet here. Okay, again, share my screen and see here. Okay, yeah. So I think you can see this Excel sheet on or this tool of fertilizer designing. Can you see that? No response. So I'm sure that you can see the recipe sheet on your screen. Okay. Okay. Now see, as a grower, what you need to do, you have to just change this water quantity. Suppose your water quantity or tank or water requirement for your crop is 1500 liters per day. So I have just changed the 1500 liter. You just now see itself. I'll just do the Control Z and you can see. See, accept the ratio because I have changed the water quantity. Your EC, just see here, the EC. It will, from 1.5, it reaches to 1.99. Okay. And suppose you need to maintain 1.5, then you have to reduce your quantity of fertilizer, like 1600 calcium nitrate. Still is a little higher ammonical farm. So let me reduce 20 as a ammonical farm of nitrogen, a little more, 300. Okay, 1.7. See, every change is bringing down or up the fertilizer, the electrical conductivity. Even 200, let's see how it is. Maybe I can do further. 160, 1.62, it is there. Also, you have to see here, the ratio is changing. It is now towards on vegetative parts. Okay, so vegetative stage recipe is need to have a higher nitrogen content. So 280, let's see. Yeah, 1.6. Okay, yeah, now see, the moment I bring down further the ammonical form of nitrogen, your red flag is on here. So either you have to reduce the nitrate content in the form of potassium nitrate or maybe calcium nitrate. So let me do is a 150, 130. Okay, and 150. Yeah, now see, your further again, and now your EC is almost matching. So 0.01 you need to bring down. So 125. Let me see if I could achieve. Yeah. Now you can see you have achieved that targeted one. Just changing the water, you have bring down the quantity of fertilizer. And if you go here, it's not updated because it's already formula driven, linked. So you can get the quantity of nitrogen is this much of a gram. So this is something like a quantity, you know. Third sheet is the report. So you can just hand over this printout to your worker that, okay, go and measure this quantity and bring in that container so you can mix it. And also the same sheet is having the deficiency symptom, what we talked about. Okay. This is a very handy tool, simple, no nothing, something like a hassle. You only play with this. And one more thing, what I've shared is if you put all the rates in kg, suppose you are procuring MAP, whatever the rate is here per kg, you put here. This value is already being taken from the first seed. So you need not to do anything here. Only the price at what you bought fertilizer, you put there, it will automatically estimate daily fertilizer recipe cost. Okay. So this is something like kind of a tool which is a user friendly, and you can use whenever you want. You can play whatever you want to play, whatever the ratio, whatever this. Only thing is you have to just play around with your fertilizer, the quantity of different fertilizers, different sources. And you can also see that what is the nitrogen sources, what is the phosphorus sources, what is potash, what is here, and based on that you can design your own fertilizer recipe.